Let's continue the Farmer Rapid Fire brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. And we're going to Manitoba. We're talking to Pioneer Agronomist Mike Weir. Hey, Mike, how are we doing?
Good, good. How are you?
I mean, I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. So,
All right.
what's happening? What are you up to this week?
This week is we're kind of in the middle of our tailgate meetings or a lot of our grower meetings we like to do with our customers. So there's been a number of those going on, and at the same time, it's that time of year where we're getting close to in the process of collecting data on a lot of our canola products that are coming off the field, and then pretty close to getting into some soybeans and corn too. So just trying to collect some pre-commercial data in those. So it's been a little bit more challenging this week. Just we had a wet week last week that's caused some challenges. So there's definitely a lot more mud on the boots when you're walking through the field.
Yeah, yeah. You definitely you've had some moisture there in Manitoba, which has kind of put a bit of I guess, a thorn in an efficient harvest.
Yeah, there's been some damp mornings, well, damp days here last week, but a lot of really damp mornings. So some later starts and some earlier finishes when you do finally get combining. And we're kind of at that point now where there's some areas that are out making ruts. So we're at that point now, but I growers are eager to get the crop off because there's a heck of a crop out there in a lot of areas. So that's definitely been the silver lining to all this. It's been a challenge getting the crop off recently, but there's a really good crop out there to get.
Now, are the decent yields consistent across Manitoba, or are there some areas of Manitoba that are better than others, Mike?
Yeah, I mean every area has its good and bad. I would say from a consistently challenging area. I know the poor farmers north of Winnipeg, as you get up into the Interlake area, they've been just they've been dry right from the get-go, and so there's some yields that are a little less than the average just from some drought conditions. And then there's pockets here and there that have had too much moisture that's brought down some of that top end yield. But overall, just the general comments I've been getting from the growers that I work with is just a really happy with what's coming off from a cereal crop, whether it's spring wheat, whether it's oats, and even a canola crop that a lot are really happy with the numbers they're getting. Some historic highs on some farms, and some preliminary data on soybeans coming off too that are looking quite promising too. So like I mentioned, growers are excited to get out there, hoping things dry up here this week and then go and get whatever is left out there to get.
Excitement on the grain corn, or I guess optimism on that grain corn crop as people get into that.
Yeah, yeah. There's actually reports of the odd field coming off just to fill some early contracts and initial yield results look really promising. But even just monitoring the crop throughout the season, it's been a good season for long season crops. Good growing conditions during pollination. So with that, we see really good grain fill on the corn, and we've had the moisture to fill it. So um, we're at a point now where a lot of the corn's at the tail end of filling. We have some mature corn that now is just sitting out in the field drying down. So I think in the next week or 10 days, I think you'll start to hear more and more reports of some grain corn coming off.
Yeah, you know, today we have heard such a wide array of conditions. Like, we talked to Ryan Baird, who's in Prince Edward Island, epically dry on the island in parts of Atlantic Canada. We talked
Okay.
to John Kowalchuk, who's in Trochu, Alberta. Pretty ideal kind of year. But then Glasgow, Saskatchewan, Daryl Franzu told us, it's been an okay year, but way too much on the dry side. And again, it just shows you across the Canadian agricultural geography that we've just got a whole bunch of array of conditions and the challenges the farmer has trying to manage through all that those different levels of moisture.
Yeah, well, you said it, and that's just one of the challenges, right? That's out of our control. But the other one is just the markets, and it's that time of year when you have to start thinking about next year, right? So which baskets do you put your eggs? So it kind of just goes back to spreading your risk around and put your eggs in multiple baskets, right? To spread the risk, not only on the weather conditions you might get, drier conditions, wetter conditions, but also the market. So, um, yeah, it's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it.
Well, that's the old saying, and it is very, very true. And hey, you mentioned, thinking about the year ahead. Too, it's hard to believe too that we're already talking about 2026, but
Yeah.
this fall is a good time to think about, hybrid selection, across your different crops.
Absolutely. It's like Christmas time for a lot of us. Well, for growers, right, going to get their crop from, they put all the hard work into it. Now they get to go and reap the rewards. And it's the same on the seed side too, right? We have our commercial products that we're excited about. We have pre-commercial products we're advancing, and it's like Christmas, right? When this data starts rolling in, where you can start to use some of that data to position it with growers for the next year, right? So to your point, yeah, you can never start too early, I think, about looking ahead to next year, and start asking questions with your local seed dealer on what they're seeing this year and what to look forward to for 2026.
For some of those growers that are in the more wetter areas, and the combine's going to possibly create some ruts. Is it more a case of like, hey, we got to get the crop off, we'll deal with the ruts later, or do some people just hold off and maybe things will dry up a little bit and we won't make such a mess of the fields? What typically are you seeing growers to go with?
You know what, Sean, it's a mixed bag. Like
Personal
I think
preference.
some of them have, how many acres do they have left off to get, right? You got to start at some point, and if it's just a few, then there's growers that are holding off. That might be a reason why some growers might get into their corn first, right, before they really get into beans. It's because it might be a challenge knifing those beans off the ground with some of the wet conditions out there. Um, Growers are trying their best to stay out as long as they can without making a mess, because those ruts are something you deal with the next year too, right? And so I've seen a lot of grain trucks parked on the road and grain carts going out and bringing it back to them on the road, and trying to limit the amount of ruts they're doing that way. But at the end of the day, if you got acres to get off and you got soybeans coming in to get off, the growers just need to get going in some cases. And
Well, Mike, thanks a lot for joining us here today on the Farm Rapid Fire. Rapid Fire, really appreciate it.
yeah, you bet. Good talking to you.
That was Mike Weir. He is Pioneer Agronomist out of Manitoba. Great chatting with Mike. Hey, if you have any feedback, we'd love to hear from you. We heard from our farmers here today on the show. Now it's your turn, Real Agriculture audience. You can send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com, or of course, call that Real Ag feedback line, 855-776-6147. And of course, today's show was brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. Make sure when you're thinking about that hybrid selection for 2026, you think about Pioneer 100 series. It is the highest yielding Pioneer brand canola hybrids ever. This isn't just better canola, it's different canola. Contact your local Pioneer sales representative or visit pioneer.com/100 series. Well, thanks everybody for getting real and getting connected with Real Ag Radio. We'll chat again tomorrow. Cheers, everybody.